Previously, when Commander Callia found out that she was pregnant with a child, and the father was none other than her best friend, Duke Shyman, the great magician of the capital, she decided not to disclose this news to him, as his mother, Shyman Terroan, was a cruel person who would never allow an illegitimate child for her son. Because of this, she quickly decided to retire from the post of Commander-in-Chief of the Empire and determined to raise her child by herself alone. Later, when Callia submitted her resignation to King Louie and was returning to her mansion, she witnessed Shyman standing alone in the imperial garden. Noting this, she swiftly reflected on her foolish past, where the strange power of Shyman's gifted scroll awakened her intimate desires, which caused her to deliver passionate kisses on Shyman's lips and eventually spent a night with him, engaging in a devil's tango, resulting in her getting pregnant with his child. After recalling her actions, she called herself trash and criticized herself for sleeping with her friend. However, Shyman observed Callia standing at a distance and asked her to come downside. So, let's dive into the chapters 8 to 11 of the manhwa, The Baby Isn't Yours. After criticizing herself to her heart's content for sleeping with Shyman, Callia approaches him as he stands alone in the palace garden. Noting her presence, he remarks that she has been avoiding him for a long time. Perplexed heavily, she wonders when she has been avoiding him. In fact, it was Shyman who got angered and kicked her out of his room when she went to apologize for their one-night stand. Plus, when he informed her that his parents had found a lady for him to get engaged to, she congratulated him with best wishes and extended a handshake of reconciliation. However, he got enraged and burst into a sea of fire, yelling that he would never forgive her. Therefore, she doesn't think that she has ever avoided him in the first place. Interrupting her thoughts, Shyman conveys that it is always hard to see Callia after the Great War is over, and just because he can't see her, he wants to start another war, causing her to flinch clearly. Noting her reaction, he smiles, stating that it was a joke and he simply wants to tease her. Shyman then makes direct eye contact with Callia, expressing that every time he sees her, he wants to smash something. Hearing this, she droops her head, reflecting that he is really a nasty mage who knows how to flirt with women. Shuddering, Callia calls Shyman by his first name, stating when she first slept with him, it was her first time doing something like that, so she didn't know if he had such a hard time. Besides, she couldn't even get out of bed all day, feeling like her body was totally broken. She then yells, asking how he has so much stamina for that kind of thing, which causes Shyman to clarify his point desperately. Interrupting her, he mentions that generally people couldn't get out of bed because they get tired after doing that for the first time, and they are not the exception. Hearing this, she makes a funny face, blabbering that it's not that she couldn't get up, but she didn't get up. Pissed heavily, Shyman begins to radiate an intimidating aura, at which Callia apologizes to him and requests him to calm down. Releasing a long sigh, he states that she does not need to apologize to him. To this, she irritatedly wonders then why he gets so angry at her in the first place. Suddenly, Shyman reveals that despite her being controlled by the scroll's power, he wasn't. As an archmage, he couldn't be subjected to a spell scroll that easily. Shocked, Callia questions then why he was excited that day too. To this, he responds that he didn't get excited. Enraged, she asks if he is saying that he didn't get thrilled at seeing her naked body at that time. Stepping back, he inquires if she would be happy if he told her that he liked her body that night. She delivers a disgusted look and shouts why she would feel happy at hearing those words. She then adds that it is all the scroll's fault for turning their friendship into desire. Pissed heavily, Shyman unknowingly cast a massive fire bomb behind him, radiating flares high into the sky. Witnessing this, Callia reflects that this bastard blew up another imperial garden due to his bad temper. Meanwhile, after causing a heavy blunder, Shyman calls himself a fool and starts to curse himself. Pointing his finger at her, he declares that he is going to fix his defense magic in 2 weeks, and when he comes back, he will clarify all the doubts between them. Moreover, he wants her to know something that could change their current relationship. So, he doesn't want her to go anywhere until he returns. And as Shyman tries to leave, Callia abruptly questions if he still does not like children. Hearing this, he asks why she is bringing that up all of a sudden. In response, she mentions when he gets married, he will think of having a child. Shyman does not answer her question, but simply gazes at her for a bit. By turning away, he declares that he still hates them and would not like them in the future. Plus, despite thinking about him getting married recently, it doesn't mean he wants to have children. And as he questions why she is asking that all of a sudden, she annoyingly reflects that it's because she has his child in her womb. Not getting any answer, Shyman eventually takes his leave, stating that they will meet very soon. Lost in her thoughts, Callia confirms to herself that indeed, she shouldn't tell him about the child. Dear viewers, apologies for the interruption. If you're genuinely enjoying the content on this channel, please consider hitting the subscribe icon with all notifications, since this little support of yours will help this creator continue delivering high-quality work to brighten your day. And take a moment at the end of the video to leave a comment, sharing your thoughts on the content. Your feedback means a lot. Now, let's not take up too much of your time and jump back into the story. Meanwhile, walking towards his palace, Shyman mutters that Callia is really a naive woman for not understanding his moves. He then takes out an engagement ring from his pocket, reflecting that despite Callia standing firmly on the ground and keeping her back straight, with her lemon-colored hair tied high with no gaps, she has wounds all over her both arms, different from her soft hair. And those scars that she will carry with her for the rest of her life are her glory, the traces of her hard work, and the evidence that made her who she is today. As the nobles of the capital disgusted Callia for the same scars, commenting that she looks like a monster. Yet, even with the harsh words of the nobles, she walked forward proudly. Shyman gets emotional recalling this, expressing that although he can't remove those scars, he will protect her heart at all costs. He then sadly wonders how she can imagine that he would have a child with another lady besides her. Clenching the ring box, he adds if Callia somehow found out that his parents are trying to engage him with Princess Rua, it would be disastrous. From here, the scene shifts to the past, where Shyman wakes up after spending his night with Callia, reflecting that there is no way Callia would oversleep after hooking up with him the night before. Later, as he dresses up and comes to the Magic Tower's lobby, he gets perplexed at finding Princess Rua, who states that she almost read the whole book while waiting for him. She then questions if he is sick or something, as he is very late today, which is odd. Shyman does not respond to her concern, but simply recalls that she is the third princess of Ainz, whom he met at the victory party. Rua approaches him, mentioning that Callia came out earlier from his room. She sarcastically inquires why Callia came out of his room early in the morning and what they did last night. Annoyed, Shyman responds that it is his private business. Suddenly, Rua expresses that she has come to propose marriage, as she likes him a lot and wants to become his bride. Shyman delivers a piercing gaze at her, reflecting that Rua turns his pleasant morning into the bad morning of his life. Drooping his head, he gently denies her engagement proposal, expressing that he can't accept it. He suggests she never mention this offer outside, as it will tarnish her reputation as a princess. Rua yells in her embarrassment, asking if it is because of General Callia, as she saw Callia come down from Shyman's bedroom early in the morning. Annoyed, Rua defies her own words, stating that no matter who he has met in the past, she has no intention of rebuking him. Shyman delivers a disgusted gaze at Rua, inquiring why the hell he has to be scolded by her when she is a stranger to him. Scared, she responds that it has to be because in the last battle, he saved him. Hearing this, he conveys that he doesn't feel the need to talk anymore, and since Rua is the one who came in a hurry, he doesn't need to see her off. Suddenly, Shyman halts and mentions that Rua said she saw Callia this morning. Then by any chance, did Callia also sees her too? Clenching her teeth in anger, Rua furiously questions why he is curious about Callia in front of her. Blushing heavily, Shyman expresses that Callia is the most curious person for him in this world. Getting even more pissed, Rua states that if he is so curious, why doesn't he ask her himself? And with this declaration, she takes her leave. From here, the scene again shifts to the present, where Shyman, after recalling the past incident, angrily reflects that he also got a note from Callia that morning, in which she apologizes to him for what happened between them. Plus, he wonders if Callia really met Princess Rua that morning and found about the engagement. Suddenly, he becomes gloomy and begins to criticize himself, reflecting that indeed, they have done something which they shouldn't have done. Moreover, it took him 7 years just to realize that he fell in love with a rough woman like her. And due to the Great War, he can't confess his feelings to her for another 7 years. But thankfully, thanks to Callia and him, the war ended after 7 years, giving him plenty of time to confess his feelings to her. Later, as Shyman opens the king's chamber door, he abruptly finds King Louie inside, enjoying expensive wine by himself. And upon seeing Shyman, Louie offers him to join the drinking. To this, Shyman asks if there is something wrong with him that he is drinking late at night. Not getting any answer, Shyman questions if something happened with Callia. Drooping his head, Louie informs that he got a marriage proposal from the Nathan Empire, and it's a request for the position of the Empress to help the war. But he still can't believe that the nobles have already started to acquire the Empress throne to manipulate power. Hearing Louie's words, Shyman comes beside him, asking if there is any order for him, as he can do anything for him. Smiling, Shyman expresses that he can help him escape from this Nathan situation right now, which perplexes Louie heavily. Louie burst into loud laughter, reflecting that just by looking at Shyman, anyone can say that he is warmer than anyone else. He then declares that he doesn't want it to affect Shyman, his dear cousin. And as Shyman closes his eyes and delivers a bright smile at hearing Louie's concern for him, Louie quietly attempts to take his leave, but Shyman catches the culprit, asking that he promise to tell every detail about his meeting with Callia. Startled, Louie answers that there is nothing to tell, as it's just some minor issue about the military. He worriedly reflects that no matter how warm Shyman is, he will change his nature drastically just at the mention of Callia. Therefore, he can't afford to tell him that she is going to retire from her post soon. He inquires if Shyman is so curious, then why he doesn't cast his magic and turn her into a figure for him to control. Hearing the word control, Shyman quickly imagines Callia with a cute expression, referring to him as darling. This imagination prompts Shyman to cover his heavily blushed face with his hands, muttering that she would be so cute. Observing this, Louie confirms himself that he really needs to keep his mouth shut after seeing Shyman's reaction. Meanwhile, Shyman maintains his composure, stating that if there is nothing important, then he will take his leave as he has something to attend to. Arriving near the door, Shyman turns to Louie's side, expressing with a charming smile that if the king needs any help in the future, he can come to him. And as he eventually takes his leave, Louie slumps on his desk, asking why God chose him to tell Callia's retirement news to Shyman. From here, the scene shifts to Callia's mansion, where a man kneels in front of Callia, requesting her to reconsider her decision as he can't take her post. This man is Brick Akrana, the deputy head of the Night Union, who pleads with her to teach him before she leaves. Noting his tantrum, she reflects that Brick been like this for 3 days and she doesn't have the time. Getting out of control, Brick yells that the other knights will make a fuss if they hear this news. Hearing this, Callia reminds that it is not like without her. All the soldiers in this empire are gone, and the countries she defeated in battle can't fight now, hence the soldiers can train them perfectly. Enraged, Brick questions what about the countries who are planning to attack them, at which she informs him that wars take time and preparation as it's not that easy. Brick then starts to roll on the floor like a crybaby, shouting that Callia can't go anywhere. Witnessing this, she wonders if he forgets how talented he is. Not wanting to stop, Brick springs up, questioning what the reason for her retirement. And as she answers that it's personal, he asks how she can compare personal issues to those of the country. Suddenly, Callia pierces her fingers into the sofa, causing it to tear with greater force. Witnessing this, Brick gets scared to the extent that he freezes in place. Meanwhile, Callia maintains her composure and apologizes to Brick for what she just did. By becoming an obedient child, he shallowly states that he does not want her to retire so soon. To this, Callia assures him that there will be a new commander-in-chief until she comes back from her 1-year leave. Getting emotional, Brick asks if she will really return after a year. However, she doesn't clarify his doubt and swiftly commands him to leave her room. And as Brick approaches the door, Callia threatens him that if their conversation gets out, she'll make his head into a chair. At complying, Brick quickly closes the door and eventually leaves. Observing this, she springs up from the sofa, reminding herself that there is not much time left. Plus, she must move quickly, as only about a week from now Shyman will get back. A few hours later, Callia brings a newly bought lady's shirt, wondering how to wear it, as she never wore something like this before. Yet, she tries her best with every little bit of knowledge she has for this. Suddenly, Callia opens the bedroom door, informing her that she arranged a wagon in the backyard. But she freezes at the threshold and becomes speechless at witnessing the stunning beauty of Callia in a cream-colored shirt and a sun hat. Callia then begins to revolve around Callia like a honeybee, questioning happily how she can even fit this dress so well. Embarrassed, Callia thanks Callia for complimenting her dress. She then caresses Callia's head, stating that without her help, she wouldn't have been able to wear it right away. At this, Callia radiates a bright smile, expressing that it is her job to help Callia. Callia then reflects that despite Callia's having lost her whole family, she is usually cheerful. Suddenly, Callia inquires if Callia can take her with herself on this outing. And as Callia allows her, Callia animates, stating that before she comes along, she will pack her clothes right away. As we wrap up today's segment, thank you for being with us until the very end. I'll be sharing fresh videos of this manga and exciting new series every weekend. Your support is invaluable, so please subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Your encouragement keeps the channel thriving, and I appreciate it immensely. Until next time, take care and goodbye.